With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Good evening, race fans. Welcome to another Wednesday night edition of the NASCAR Truck Series and Xfinity Series doubleheader live on RaceSpotTV. We'll start with the NASCAR Trucks. My name's Terry Radford, joined alongside Derek Watson, Dustin Allis. I'm just going to keep messing up his name for him until he yells at me. We're here on the call this afternoon, and Derek, Michigan, wide open, flat out, sweeping racetrack that always proves to be the best show of the year.
It really does. What a beautiful track it is. 2 miles in length and been open for a long time. And we're in for some fun, exciting racing tonight.
It's going to be very entertaining to watch these drivers turn a ton of laps around here and potentially see somebody who can come out on top and get themselves a win and lock themselves into the show of champions that will be raced very soon-ish here. We'll take a look at the schedule. Obviously, we're down here in week number 7, IRP next week, Watkins Glen, and then the Milwaukee Mile. And then driver standings. No surprise over there, Derek. Alan Dice holds it by a good margin.
Yeah, not a surprise at all after the weeks Alan Dice has had. Got Cody Atkins in second at 201, then Dallas Sullivan, Kevin McGarvey, Steve Loving in your top 5. And then Brett Adams, Adam Schoen, Matthew Karikoff, Hayden Palumbo, and Dylan Schmidt round out your top 10.
We'll take a look at the team standings here as Loaded Dice Racing has walked away, virtually sealing this one up unless they have a, mega disaster with Team CPR. And you got Black Flag Racing with Riding Shotgun back there as well. Love Racing, DDI all day. What a back established traffic control, DDI every day. Consultinfo, and then Bull Creek Racing. But all of these drivers and teams, well, they wouldn't get anywhere if it wasn't for the fantastic sponsors that come out each and every week and support this series, like Advanced Sim Racing. Owned and operated by passionate sim racers, Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the most sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulated cockpits available in the market today. All PRL members get a 5% discount on ASR products using the Precision5 coupon code. In RaceBox, they offer high and mid-end button boxes for racing enthusiasts, from the casual gamers up to the most meticulous sim racing driver. Competitively priced and carefully handcrafted, their button boxes are an enjoyable addition to any sim racing setup. Visit RaceBoxSimRacing.com. Get 5% off using the Precision5 coupon code. And I would say my favorite, who also sponsors the late model World of Outlaw series, the Butt Kicker. Their products add incredible immersion and realism to every game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seats with the Butt Kicker. In Mecha Sim Hardware, the small company out of the Czech Republic, their goal is to produce high-quality sim racing hardware. If you're looking for high-end pedal sets, handbrakes, or sequential shifters, visit Mecha Sim Hardware's eShop right now to get yourself up to speed. In Muradness, the performance, a lifestyle brand motivated by motorsport and founded by professional race car driver Daniel Morad. For more information, visit muradness.com. com, not net, com. Mr. Head Sim Racing Photography. You capture your finest, proudest, or last night, Derek, my worst moment on iRacing, getting wrecked on the outside wall. In your favorite hobby to up to 8K resolution. It is a wonderful addition to any sim racing room. That's Mr. Head Sim Racing Photography. And yeah, Derek, sad. I didn't win. Led 45 laps just to get wrecked.
Yeah, this is that kind of track. It's not exactly a super speedway. By definition, it is, however, because technically a super speedway is anything 2 miles or bigger, which this track is. But it's going to race like one, especially with this truck package. We're going to be nose to tail, trying to find those draft lines and making things work. Well, qualifying is about to begin here. Of course, it's 5 minutes and 2 laps. And look at the sun has gone down. What's that song say, Terry? When the sun goes down, we're getting a little groovy. How's that go?
Well, you know, when the sun goes down, it gets hotter. But look at this. Turns 1 and 2 shaded. Turns 3 and 4 has sun, so your approach will be a little different. I, personally, yesterday, I did open, but the line was very consistent to what we should see here tonight. You don't want to go all the way up to the wall, burn your stuff up. That's the quickest way to try to carry too much speed to put yourself in a bad situation. On the warm-up lap, that's fine. This groove right here that Robert Goff's running, straddle the line, but don't hit the line. You just need to stay in a groove and run with it. We'll see what he can do here.
There's a couple tricks here you want to do. I did the fixed run yesterday, which you said the lines were about the same for qualifying. You're going to come back up here. If it were me, I would have stuck to the outside here and did the super speedway style build the speed. But I respect the move here. You can come right outside here. You can be a little higher than that. You can. You'll stay on the outside here. Keep it against that wall track out as far as possible. Right down this long stretch right away. On the back straight here. Come down to the 4. That's about as far as you want to get. Not that far, I don't think. Now the trouble is out of 4. We'll talk about that later. If you want to pick up a couple tips here, you can get that truck all the way down here onto the apron, just like that. And that'll net you a 40.277.
Yeah, and that's a decent lap. Kevin McGarvey obviously came out here and just laid a 40, virtually a 40 flat. Put a 40.030 on the board. 7/100ths off of him at the moment is Dallas Sullivan, who back there ran a 40.1 flat. A lot of speed going to be found in this racetrack, especially if the drivers went early enough to catch the shade in the corners of turns 1 and 2, 3 and 4. I personally would have ran more of that second groove. That's what won me the pole yesterday in the Open Series, and I was a big fan of running that line. I thought I messed up too. I messed up in qualifying, also kind of cost me some spots.
What did you think of that low line from Pennington through 3 and 4 there? He was basically at the line down the bottom. That was too low for you. That'd be too low for me.
It was interesting. I mean, it's good for your second lap because it lets you wrap the bottom. And I mean, CM Pennington had a very respectful lap with a 40.1. I mean, that 40.1, he was 3/100ths or 33/1000ths of a second off of Hayden Palumbo to pass him right there, and not too far off as well from Dallas Sullivan. He was about a 10th-ish off to go up there and catch Cody Atkins. I mean, that's not too crazy. And that could be changed in your warm-up lap, too. A lot of people don't realize that warm-up lap could really set the tone of what your qualifying is going to be at a place like this.
Oh, I agree with that. I'm still surprised no one's doing the old super speedway style. I really would. I would ride the outside and build some speed here. And then
what a miserable lap.
Go for it on the on the second lap. This is Alan Dice, of course, your current points leader, as we talked about a second ago.
He's running the line.
So the way this line will form throughout the race here, and I think it's a mix of tires, a mix of the draft. Maybe the first 5 laps of the race, the inside line is going to feel like heaven in the draft. And then we're all going to start to drift to the outside and want to form those draft lines. But the trouble spot will be right here out of 4. Once we get in that draft, you pick up some speed. You can snap that truck out of 4 if you're not careful.
Oh, this has got to be a pole lap. It's close. 10th. Wow. From 10th to 1st is under a tenth. That's going to show you how competitive this field's going to be. And one thing that I did learn yesterday is, and Matthew Karakoff, oh my gosh.
39.
39.99. He goes 3/100ths above Kevin McGarvey. And that's a heck of a lap from Karakoff right there. Getting the 39s, that into the preparation time of running the outside lane, building that momentum you talked about, and able to carry sustainable speed throughout the run, especially in 2 laps qualifying, where lap 2, well, if you made a mistake on 1, it's going to be a hard time getting in a lap 2.
Yeah, if you want to do the 2-lap strategy, you have to run both of them really well. But look at this beautiful track. This place was opened, I think, in 1968. Not many changes to it since that time. Of course, it has 2 road courses that we run here as well. But we are done with qualifying. There's the sun back there. It's going to be 1 and 2 again, as we see the big overhead shot here from that blimp. And I think we're ready to go through the grid, Terry.
Yeah, we are. Matthew Karakoff gets the pole with a 39.999, beating out Kevin McGarvey by 3/100ths of a second. With Cody Atkins back there in 3rd, Brett Adams, the Texas native, is going to lead them in 4th, with Dallas Sullivan for Lotus Ice Racing and Hayden Palumbo for Team CPR.
We'll pick up a P7 for Thomas Emasi and Dylan Schmidt back there in P8. Steve Loving in 9th, and of course Alan Dice, you saw that run there, that put him 10th on the board. And then C.M. Pennington and Richard Pruitt round out your top 12.
And we'll slide on back there at a lucky number 13 with Stephen Kirby in the 109, with Garrett Austin to the outside. Adam Shane in 15th with Zach Panzarella and Colton Easterday in the number 9 machine. The 18th spot's going to go to Dalton Geyer in the 365.
We'll pick up with that number 13 machine sitting in 19th. That's Robert Goff with Ryan Traver on the outside. Stacy Hunter and Timothy Emmanuel, they're 21-22. And then Oliver Goff and Thomas Brindle round out your top 24.
And we'll round out the rest of the field right here. Edward Peltz, Barron Hilton going to start 25th, 26th. Bradley Holly's not racing in this one. Philip Beaver, Ronald Overbay, Zachary Austin, as Bradley is in here to admin tonight's event. And I guess he just got on our starting grid because, well, why not the I believe he's the all-time wins leader in trucks. Why not just come out here and raise it? But that's a look top to bottom of your starting lineup here. All 29 trucks are ready to go, and this is going to be fun. Big points to the night, Derek. Lifting in the back. Traffic, there's going to be a lot of lifting throughout this field. You don't want to get yourself caught burning that right front tire up.
So I think the 2 points tonight to victory would be 1, turn 4. We're going to see some trucks snap loose out of it. You have to control that. And 2, controlling the draft and controlling the bump drafting. It's tempting to do it here, but man, it goes wrong really quickly. We're going to see probably the back straight is where we'll see the majority of our wrecks, if there are any. And this is a track that sweeps up, by the way, I've noticed in my experience. Wrecks tend to go to the outside wall here. If you see a wreck happening, you want to get to the inside as fast as possible here at Michigan.
And we're gonna get to see 2 races here this afternoon with the NASCAR Truck Series and the Xfinity Series going double headers here. We got 40 minutes for this one, 50 minutes for the Xfinity Series. Should be entertaining. We're slotted 60 laps. A lot of people coming into this race seems to think with the draft style package, we're going to see some yellow flags get thrown very, very early. I don't know. I think the trucks have been a really good show as you take a look at the track conditions, Derek.
Yeah, they have been a really good show. 109-degree Fahrenheit track temp. That's a good temp there. Terry, do you think when Charles Moneypenny made this track back in '68, he thought we'd be drafting and racing as hard at Michigan International Speedway? Do you think that's what he had in mind?
I'm sure when he made this track, he was like, man, I'll tell you right now, we're probably gonna have people tandem drafting here in the trucks at one point in time.
Gonna be 2 redneck nerds on the internet talking about it.
That's right. Well, I tell you, let's talk some racing. Pace car is down. Field's in the hands of Matthew Karakoff. Let's go racing. Green flag is in the air in Michigan International Speedway.
on the back straights, we're going to see people start to get a little brave. Only 2 wide so far. That may turn into 3 wide. Oh, there it is. I think it's 3 wide back in the middle there.
Take a look. It really does look like Talladega or Daytona here with these trucks. Truck around. Is that Steve Loving?
Pintarella, no?
Yeah,
you're
Steve
right,
Loving. Yeah, Steve Loving went around. And that's an early one. Cold tires here in Michigan, and they're wrecking in front. Big crash up front. Looks like that's potentially. That's one of the golf boys. Look, that's Oliver Goff.
Well, looks like it's going to be a turn 4 monster. I want to see both those. First off, before we get anything, congrats to holding that truck down there in the grass at 3 and 4 and not bringing that back up. But there's a second wreck here, which is your caution. We were going to stay green for a moment. We're going to wind up that replay machine here and find out what happened in just a moment. Well, you said people thought there'd be cautions, Terry. Well, here we are, lap 1, turn 4. Here's the wreck. There's the first one. He got loose by himself. Little too low in the corner.
That was one hell of a save. That was amazing. A hell of a save.
It's amazing.
Then they just started piling up in front of them. Now, so there's this checkup.
This is what we saw already.
That was a really good move. If you're the 247 right there of Zach Panzarella moving out of the way, and then
oh, hello, not clear.
Well, that's Stephen Kirby just walking up the racetrack, and then Panzarella ends up tapping Oliver Goff there in the 85.
Looks like I thought he was a little loose here coming into the corner. I thought I saw that truck wiggle around.
Oh, he just got turned. I think he got turned right there. I think he just turned him.
I think that was a meeting of the minds, if you want to be honest about it.
I'd love to see a drone view of that one. I'd love to hear some of the people in the RaceSpot chat, if we get an over cam view of that, give me their opinions of that. It looked to me as if, from the angle we got, all right, I will say that. There we go. Here's the overview.
I think he comes up. I'm sorry.
I think he comes. Yeah, he comes up. Okay. That view, he definitely come up.
For those keeping score at the at-home commentary game, that's Derek 104, Terry 1,
2. I've called 2.
Okay.
I called 2 correctly. Oh man, how'd you fare last week? How was your road course time?
Oh, it was great. You weren't here, so it was a good time. No, we had a great time. We ran a solid race at Richmond here in the trucks.
Yeah, you did. Dice getting that win.
Yep. And then the Xfinity Series moved over to Road America, and Lorenzo and I walked them through it. Lorenzo did not curse anybody. Lorenzo, of course, known for a few Road America driver curses, but a great time for those guys. Here's a different view of it. This is Oliver Goff on board here. Look at that 4 wide ahead of them, by the way. And, hello.
Oh, that's how he got checked up to get a back end. Oh, my goodness. And you know what's sad is Oliver Goff has been, I'm not going to say has been the unluckiest person in the PRL, because I think that would really have to go to a Hunter or an Easter Day, if we're talking truck drivers, who has just had the worst luck. But if you're Oliver Goff, the improvements he has made throughout the season, and he's staying in the server. Ronald Overbay, Stephen Kirby's gone. He's kind of hoping that, if more chaos happens, he's able to pick up some spots for the point-wise. Like, he's still wanting to race for points. That's a good teammate right there, trying to help the team get some points out.
It is. You know what? And the good news about this track, if you're Oliver Goff, is it's a long pace lap. So you do get some time here to get some damage. I think it's like a minute 40 on the pace lap here. I can go look in a second, but
yeah, it's a minute 43.
And that's new, because in the last season update, iRacing went through and upped the pace speed of some of these tracks. Michigan, Daytona all come to mind. The pace speed is about 5 miles an hour faster, so get a little less damage done than you used to. But man, you can get some good repairs done here under yellow at a track like this. You may not be up to speed fully, but you can have it. But yeah, we had a great time last week. We talked about you. We made fun of you.
Scary.
I'm sure you know that. I know you watch to see what we say about you. So.
Nah, I don't watch.
All right. So I mean, it's not that I haven't said to your, not that I haven't said to your face. Not that I haven't said to your face. We made fun of you not seeing Star Wars.
Oh, I mean, I watch, but last week was a very entertaining supper with the bosses.
Yeah.
I won't miss another Wednesday night show. We get the rest of the season. I'm 100% here. I will miss the Sunday road course for Indy baby shower. See, I actually have good excuses when I miss races. You
do shower your baby more than like once every other Sunday, right? Like I'm just double checking here. We'll come back to that when we go green.
We'll hit that later. Pace car comes down into the pit lane. We'll see if we can keep it green for more than a lap. Our timer could potentially be a factor into this one. Green flags out. Brett Adams, Matthew Karakoff got an amazing start on the bottom lane here. That puts McGarvey and Cody Atkins to the outside, and that fight for second is not a fight no more. Is now the mid-pack Derek Watson, looking like it did on lap 1.
Yep, looks like they've learned nothing here. Looks sort of like the eNASCAR Coke race last night. Took them a while to get that worked out at Pocono. So we could be going the same thing here. But I want to throw the idea out here that sort of like Dega or Daytona, I think Matthew Karakoff did the wrong thing. That big jump he has in that start there will come around to bite him possibly when this pack gets up to speed. He'll be a little out of the draft compared to the rest of the field. So that may come around. They're 3 wide there, out of 4, by the way.
We got 3
They're
wide.
going to run him down.
We got 3 wide for P2, and that battle for second, Cody Atkins coming into this one, and there's Hayden Palumbo. He's going to give a massive shot to Brett Adams in the number 23 as they rocket through turns 1 and 2. This has been a dogfight from the initial start, and if you're the Xfinity guys, Derek, I kind of want to touch. Oh, they're turning. He gets turned. Oh, what a shot.
He just stuck that wreck right in the middle of the track, which you would think is a good thing, but not really. If I'm wrecked, I want to be up against the wall or off the bottom. But that's CM Pennington here.
Wow.
That's unfortunate, but I mean, I don't know what's funny, but when we caught him on the camera, when I looked up on the camera, he was sitting right in the middle of the track, and that's just not a good place here at Michigan.
We'll get a look at this replay, and that was an absolute violent shot that CM Pennington took right there. And it's a tough break for Pennington because he has been just tirelessly working to get better at his craft, and a ton of time with the Abner Acosta and the amazing coaches and coaching system that the Precision Racing League puts on. Here's the replay here,
Pennington
and we'll see.
Middle of your screen here, that blue and yellow.
Oh,
someone comes down.
Turned.
Yep, someone came down. The way he was sitting there in the track with how big a field was behind him, that's inevitable to have someone hit him like that. These trucks don't stop on a dime, folks. It takes time to get them wound up, and that's unfortunate.
He just got hooked. I would love to see the like a backward shot, something face it. I don't expect anybody to pit. Everybody will stay on the racetrack in fuel save mode. And right at this moment, we've Garrett Austin, Pennington, Panzarella. That's damage repair for those drivers in the back. And Austin, Pennington, Panzarella, Brindle, Beaver, Overbay, Goff, Oliver, that is, and Stephen Kirby are all either on pit lane getting damage repair or were caught in that incident. And that's a tough break. But Steve Loving, who slid the tires on the apron, Derek, he came down pit road. We can consider that damage repair, but we haven't put a full 2 laps on these tires under the green flag condition. Very, very notable driver if we could circle to potentially come up here and drive through this field and win the race.
Well, let's take a look here at that CM Pennington. Someone got in the wall and just tried to come off of it. That's a hard thing to do, by the way. It looks so simple, by the way. You scuff the wall, and your first human instinct is to want to yank the wheel way to the left and get off that wall. And it's a hard instinct to break you of, but what happens when you do and you yank the wheel way to the left is, well, that right there, you hit someone inside of you. That's a hard skill, and no one's perfect at it. I'm not perfect at it, but it takes a lot to break that muscle memory of just yanking yourself off the wall because of moments like that. Now, coming back to your point about pitting, I agree with you 100%. No one has put enough, whatever on the tires to want to change them. However, if you believe that we could get this thing in line and get a green flag run in, I mean, yeah, it's only 5 laps or 6 laps, most of them under caution. That extra little bit of gas could mean something. If I was in the back of the field, I might put the gas in it. I mean, let's see what happens. See if I could run it a little bit longer than you could by not taking gas.
Well, we are 10 laps into this. Here's a replay here. This would be of the driver who caught the wall. There's the wall and then just came off of it, and around everybody goes.
So it looks like the 34 got in the wall in front of him. He tried to check up and hit the wall. He kind of followed the 34 into the wall, actually. That's a skill, by the way, that I wish I could break sometimes as a driver. I don't know why you do it, but sometimes as a driver, you end up following the guy into the wall in front of you, and it's so frustrating when you do it.
I've noticed that happens a lot for myself as well, but we'll reset your top 10. It's Karakhoff, Brett Adams, Hayden Palumbo, Kevin McGarvey, Cody Atkins, your top 5. Alan Dice, Richard Pruitt, Dylan Smith, Sullivan, and a Macy having a good run right there in that 05 machine. He sets your top 10. We'll get ready to take the green flag. It'll be lap number 11 of, they're saying 57. That's at pace. Not 100% sure if we're going to get those laps in, but if you're Steve Loving, you're really hoping that it does. If you're him and Ryan Traver, you want to see green flag racing because that puts you in the catbird seat. Like you talked about, Derek, to get their potential fuel strategy off sequence by 10 laps to get this done. We'll get ready to go here. Pace car comes down and in. Field still in the hands of the 00. Matthew Karakhoff, your pole sitter. Green flag for the 3rd time we're racing again at Michigan.
And you can get a visual representation of how many drivers have either pitted or were getting damage fixed. Look at how long that line was on the inside for the start. Those are all guys who had to start on that line due to coming out at 1 to go. But here they are wide now through 1 and 2. Now, Terry, if we can get this spread out for 1 or 2 laps and avoid the yellow, this field will spread out, and then we become less likely to find a yellow. But look at them already, 3 wide here. Is that Colt Easterday on the bottom there? I can't tell.
Yeah, Easter Day. Not sure if he got caught in any of the damage in this one, but he definitely has not had the luck as he gets right on the tailgate. It is literally right on the tailgate of the number 39 of Timothy Emmanuel, and Baron Hilton's having a good run so far in 14th. There's the side-by-side battle with Robert Goff, and that would be Adam Shane that he's fighting with as well for that 12th place position. Look at this fanning out, 3 wide all throughout the field, and then they funnel it back down to 2 off the exit down the back.
Maybe now we're going to start to slowly kind of calm this down a little bit. Now here's the interesting part about Michigan, Terry, that a lot of people don't know if you've never driven it before. Maybe you're watching because you have a relative in this race, or you're new to iRacing, or you're a road racer. In my opinion, that bottom lane through the corners is lava. You do not want to be in the bottom groove here at Michigan through the corners. You will loop that car around. The transitional banking, I guess it is. I don't know what exactly it is, but it will unload that car and you'll loop it around.
No, that's perfect because I mean that's what a lot of drivers are talking about. Is, oh, truck in the wall back there. I almost did the same thing that we saw with Pennington and coming off the wall and wrecking, but they held it together. But you talk about that banking. If you're all the way down there, it is a miserable time when you come off the exit because you have to go over the sweep. You actually have to hit the seam, and that's not fun. It's the same thing I talked about with McLaughlin and Ted Lowendick and Joey Tebbin last night was the line to run here. And I hope I'll take some credit if they do really well of where I told them to run for this race that's coming up very, very shortly in 30 minutes.
Oh, McGarvey got it loose out of the corner there. Sorry, yeah, I know you. I walked in last night and you guys were sharing notes and sharing tips, and they were trying to coach you to a win. But man, I cannot believe McGarvey's getting that low in the corner here. As these tires continue to wear, you cannot. There's no way. If they maintain that line as these tires wear, they'll be my new hero.
We missed the change for the race lead. Brett Adams in the 23s got it. Matthew Karakhoff, the pole sitter, wants it back. He goes to the outside in turns 1 and 2. He has Hayden Palumbo about a half a car length behind, getting ready to come give him the assist down the back straightaway. It's a drag race for the moment. We'll see where the 25 places his trust and loyalty into, and it's the outside lane.
Yeah, Karakov was excited for this race when he and I talked pre-race. Says he felt like Dagger or Daytona, and he loves those. So he says if they get racing with about 10 minutes or less to go, he thinks he has a real shot in a short run to make this happen. But right now in the long run, hold on. On the long run, he's also doing pretty well here.
Cody Atkins, and that would be Alan Dice, decided to get dicey in this one as Atkins shoves that truck to the bottom. He gets right to the tailgate, and he forces his way to the outside lane in front of Hayden Palumbo, and that was a move right there. That potentially could have put Cody Atkins in an opportunity now that we have sort of calmed this thing down to put himself in a position here to have a decent finish or potentially getting a win of that 81.
So as this race goes on, what's going to happen is drivers like Alan Dice, who are on the outside, are going to find they have the momentum to carry, and he's going to pass by the 77 here eventually, assuming that the 25 can stay in a groove and can keep moving. The only way to make the bottom work toward as this race moves on will be to do the old classic slide jobs, Terry. You get out of the line, you dig to the bottom, you pass the guy, and you pull back in line. But look at that groove up there. Look how many people have already abandoned the bottom. And we got a little choo-choo train moving here on the top. Well, we'll be at the top here in a minute. We can get a line back up. No, they're fine. They're back to two-wide racing again.
There we go. We're wrecking Barrett Hilton's around. No. Tom Macy is in that one as well, and I think we kind of knew that was coming.
I think I saw someone loose ahead of them, but they were all. I thought, unless my eyes deceive me.
You are getting old.
Oh, there's no getting in that statement, Terry Radford. Let me tell you a story.
Thought I would tell you. You know, they do say that the vision and memory are the first two things to go when you get into the elderly stage of life.
What's the first two things to go?
I can't stand you. All right. Put yourself driver analyst wise as we take a look at the replay right here. Oh no, Barrett Hilton just came right into the door, and they just couldn't get separated. Macy Emmanuel gets in it. There was just nowhere to go. But pit stops. We're 18 laps in. You pitting?
Yeah, we've had a run, a little bit of a run. I get scared about the what if game, not to borrow that line from the Marvel shows that you've probably never seen before. Wow. But let's see what's going to happen. That's everybody. Yeah. So the reason I do this is not because I think my tires are worn right now. It's because of the what if game. It's because what if we go green from here? I don't want to be that guy who is stuck on old tires, right? Yeah, so Steve Loving's going to stay out, of course, because he pitted back on lap 4 or 5 under the first caution.
Panzarella's going to stay out as well.
That was just taking a swing. I don't think Panzarella pitted already, did he?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He pitted from the incident with Pennington, where he kind of got, I don't know if he got backed into, but he had a little bit of damage to that machine. And
race off pit road
I believe Brad Adams won that race off the pit road there, unless Karakov touched the line very quickly. This I didn't realize how big of an advantage sitting on the pole having the first pit box was until last night here at Michigan, where I had an awful entry and an awful exit and still won the race off pit road.
Yeah, that can always be a benefit at most tracks, but yep, now they're all going to come up here and we'll get ready to line them up again. Of course, Loving and Panzarella will take first and second up there because he did not pit. But I agree with the pitting call. Just the what if game. What if we go green from here? All right, let's go on board for a second, Terry. Let's ride in the car. This is Macy. On the nose cam. Where's the wreck? There it is. There it is. Oh. Man, that was the right. That was. I like that call as a driver from Macy. He saw the contact and thought, they're going to check up, and I'm going to go to the outside. But of course, then that door closed, and that proves that point I said earlier. Panzarella's pitting. Okay. Most wrecks sweep full up at Michigan, so he had nowhere to go. But if I could have been in that spot and thought I could have got to the bottom, I would have. I don't know why. Every track has a different profile, Terry. Maybe you know better about it than I do. But every track has a different way that wrecks sweep for some reason. Like, it's, you know, I think it's the bigger the track or the faster the track, you go up. Daytona, Dega, Michigan, you go up. Pocono, I think you tend to go down. Dover, you go down. Bristol, you go down. I'm not a science nerd. I can't tell you why, but that's what happens.
Anybody in the chat who's a science nerd, I don't know it either. But I think I have. I'm gonna put myself in the driver's seat for a second of why Panzarella pitted right there. I think Panzarella pitted because he thought that he could get a point for leading a lap, and when Steve Loving didn't come down, there was no sense in it. You just go ahead and just bring it down pit road there. As Steve Loving will hold your race lead. He is on old tires. It is 10 laps, 8 of them under the green flag condition. This is going to be fun.
And real quick, if I can, before we go green, confidence matters in that call too. Sometimes you think you made the right call, and everyone else pitched you, like, oh crap, like that was not the right call, and that's why you come down sometimes as well.
Well, he was back there saving. He didn't really make a whole lot of space up on the restart prior, but we'll see what he could do. Field's in the hands of the 27 of Steve Loving. Green flag waves. So does the tire strategy play out for Steve Loving to get win number 2 of the season, or do we junk him for the rest of the race? And one way to find out, Derek. They're storming into 1.
They are storming into 1. And listen, no matter what happens here for Steve Loving, sometimes you have to take a chance. You have to do something that's different than what you've done in order to have different results. There's a quote, I think, that says if you put into yesterday what you do today, you'll get the same results. So sometimes you just have to do something different.
I like that quote. Sit there and follow the race leader. He's not the race leader anymore. Cody Atkins said, I'll take it. Oh, Cody was loose and slid up in front, and that was almost disastrous. Now we're 3 wide for the P2 position. That's what Cody Atkins wants to see, is Brett Adams, who was contending for the race lead at one point in time. He's going to have Kevin McGarvey on the very, very bottom. Loving's not going to be able to hold that outside lane. He's getting past every which direction but north. And it's a drag race down the back, all for second.
And that is proof of how much tires matter here. This track eats up some tires. I don't know if it's because it's how old it is and the surface, if it's the transitions from the corners we deal with, but this track will eat a tire, like, very quickly. So tires do matter here more than I think some people think, but beautiful racing going on here. 2 and 3 wide. I think we're maybe going to calm it down. I shouldn't say that. I'm going to end up like Joe Peak and be up on the commentator's curse of iRacing not top 10. By the way, congrats to Joe Peak. You're on like 6 of the commentator curses of not top 10 this month.
He has done a lot of bad. That Joe Peak guy.
That Joe Peak guy is the leading cause of death amongst race cars in iRacing, I think.
Yeah, it's sad too, because he's really good at his job, and that might deter it. As there we go, Cody Atkins gets the challenge from the outside. Brett Adams takes the point. We'll see who gets it unofficially at the stripe. It's going to be Brett Adams that time by, and he's going to have Matthew Karakoff all up his back bumper, trying to get him to the race lead and clear himself, as now Karakoff goes to the 3rd lane. Derek, 15 minutes to go. 15:50-ish. Aggressive picks up because we've got so many cautions. Well, we haven't really raced a whole lot either.
No, and the reason it's going to pick up is because how long those cautions. Those are 6 to 8 minute cautions. And so you have to be in the best spot possible. It's going to be 3 wide here again. 4 wide. Is that 4? That was almost 4. They're out of 4. Wow, they're working at it hard. I was going to say, you want to be in the best spot possible, because at any moment now, if the yellow comes out, it may not start again, right? We're only a few minutes from being in that spot where we may not start the race again. By the way, I can't believe we've already gone through 25 minutes of this. That's the impressive part. I was stunned when you said 15 minutes left.
Yeah, it's 9:05 Eastern Standard Time, and this is a great opportunity for all of these drivers who don't necessarily run up front to contend for a win, like Brett Adams Atkins and Hayden Palumbo on a week-to-week basis don't get an opportunity up at the front with Dice, Karakov running in this series to be there. And here they sit 1, 2, 3. Adam Shane's in the mix, potentially for a win. Here comes Dalton Geyer. He's running 6th at the moment. Oh, and there's slap fighting in the back. Dice got into McGarvey, and that almost turned into a big 1 times 2.
Yeah, it did. It would almost really turn big, and that's how little space they're getting here. Man, I can't believe they're still that close to the bottom of the track, and those guys are, I don't know. Hold on. That's Dylan Schmidt down there, almost pitted live without intending to, I think.
That would have been the best pit road entrance of all time, and
that would have been the most penalized pit road entrance of all time.
Well, and I most certainly would have submitted that to the not top 10 list as well, as this fight for the lead. This is a top 10 of the month battle for the race lead, as it is 4 trucks, now make it 5 that are within a truck length that I have, now make it 6. 3 car lengths, 5 car lengths back to Dice and McGarvey. And then, oh yeah, well, you got Dallas Sullivan back there as well, as we're 3 wide right here, and they're bouncing it off the wall.
You know, it's interesting. Alan Dice is up here doing so well in P6. He told me he doesn't like this kind of racing. He just wants to survive, was basically what he told me tonight. So I was excited to see him. He said he just wants to have a decent finish. Well, so far, we might have one.
There was that snaking thing that we're not
talking about it. We got trouble.
Adam Shane got loose on the bottom underneath Brett Adams.
How are you holding that down there? I am sorry, I let this go, but I don't get it.
He hung on to it. He got really sideways there. Now the 23 goes to defend the bottom. We'll see, what does the 79 do here? Does he kind of sail it in? He got close. He got close to washing up this racetrack. There he goes. There he goes. Around he goes. Oh, they're all wrecking.
Yeah, they're all wrecking.
Everybody's wrecking.
Oh, big wreck. Hello.
Oh, my goodness.
There's one car in the back there. Truck should be safe back there. That green truck just going to have a nice, safe run on through, I think. But beyond that...
That was Emmanuel, I believe, and the 39 back there riding all by his lonesome.
Looked like he almost had it saved by himself, and I'm sure what happened is as he came out of the corner, there was just too much draft momentum, and they just ran him over. But he almost had that saved out of that corner there. Well, 11 minutes to go. I think we're going to go green with about 4-ish minutes to go. So whatever happens next is our last... Well, I can almost guarantee you, unless something weird happens here, whatever happens next is our last green flag.
Do you pit here?
No. Halfway back, I think. Halfway back. I would take a chance halfway back. Because with how many trucks we just saw wrecked, those were words I was trying to combine together. You could pit here, and if you're a non-damaged vehicle, you could probably come out of here after pitting like 11th or 12th, I would think. So maybe do that and take a flyer at it. But if I'm, Adams, Atkins, Traver, probably on back through even Steve Loving in 10th. Steve Loving should pit, by the way. Just want to say that. But beyond that, no. There are a couple takers, however. We saw a couple people down pit road.
Yeah,
Traver went down. Geyer went down. There's a lot of people going down.
Easter Day. Everybody but the top 6 came down pit lane.
I like how you said it like you were going to sing it, like Easter Day.
I wanted to. Everybody but the top 6 on pit lane. And if this isn't deja vu for me, because I was told last night by Ted Lowendick and Nick McLaughlin to go 3 wide outside, and I got wrecked. Who takes it 3 wide to the outside is Dalton Geyer wins the race off of pit road. That's going to put him P7 here, which, by the way, puts him the first driver to be able to make that move. This should be really, really fun.
This will be fun. All right, let's get a couple replays in here while we have some time under the yellow here. This is, look at that. That's a 75, I think is what that was. I can't get a number on that. 79, sorry. He almost had it saved, Terry. Look at him get beat around there. Oh, no. Oh, I thought he had it saved and he just backed in the wall. That was about. He almost had it saved, Terry, and then he just kind of got ran over at the tail end of that wreck.
They thought about it.
You know, speaking of Easter Day, by the way, let's watch on the replay here. Look at that, got it loose by himself. No indication of help there, and then, yeah, then cars just went everywhere.
Yeah, that was a. He just didn't hit the brake. Adam Shane just did not hold the brake at all. But all right, so we got one to go. Believe it's one to go here. It is. We're double filing these things.
So I'm going to come back to your point you asked a second ago when I pit, and I said maybe because you could pit here and be okay. Dalton Geyer pitted, by the way, P7.
Yeah. And Geyer's got a decent truck. He hasn't been the worst. Steve Loving has had a good truck. Macy, good little rebound there for him after that little bit of as Joey says, kerfluffle.
I love that word. By the way, it's coming real quick back to Colton Easterday. I want to say as well, when I talked to him today, he said 5 words. Well, 6. He said, Derek, when in doubt, flat out. So I think that's what we're going to see from Colton Easterday for the rest of this race here. Just using the loud pedal for the rest of this race, probably. So I can't see the lights on the pace car.
Oh, we're ready to go. We'll take all
right. So
we'll
I was
take
wrong.
this green flag. 7 minutes.
But there's no way we can. That was about 7 minutes altogether, I think. Well, no, it's before.
We were at 11 when we took the caution.
Yeah, maybe one more caution, but it depends on how fast they do it. But let's not go for that. Let's get green here and run it out, Terry.
Here we go. Brett Adams, Cody Atkins. It's no tires versus 4 tires. Green flags back in the air. We'll see if the aggression pays off for some of the drivers who did come down pit road, like Loving, Geyer, Palumbo, Easterday, or do they get racy themselves? Selfishness has never won before, Derek Watson. We're about to see a barn burner with 7 to go.
Business is about to pick up, as a classic wrestling commentator would tell you. But look at this beautiful battle here. Look at this. Is that Zachary Austin right there on the inside? Wow. Nice job. He's going to get some help from Dalton Geyer's going to try to get him below here. Oh, hold on. Oh, not on the apron. I've been challenging those guys all day, saying you can't race in the bottom group, and they've done it. But I'm saying now, you can't race on the apron. Stop that.
Well, here comes Steve Loving. He's looking to take the 5th place position from Stacy Hunter in the number 71. He's going to get that, no problem at all. In the bottom group, the tires have just played dividends. As he'll get the run, and we'll see if nobody wants to go down there and work with the 27 truck because they know their only chance of winning is holding him back. We'll come to 6 minutes here. Here he goes again underneath the 24 of Richard Pruitt. He'll get the run. What a massive run. It's a fight for the lead on the front straightaway.
I don't think it's much of a fight, Terry Radford. That is a clear, decisive victory right there in that fight, but of course, we're not done. We got about a little less than 6 minutes left, but Steve Loving is using those new tires. And now, people like Cody Atkins are probably regretting that decision.
We'll see where the rest of the drivers on tires go. Hayden Palumbo sitting second. That's the only opportunity for somebody to win this race outside of the number 27, barring a caution flag to rim them back up as the truck's in the wall. That's Richard Pruitt in the 24. Who pounds the outside wall there. Palumbo gets cleared for second. That's going to put the 27 and the 25, 1 and 2, not numerically at that, I must add. But can Palumbo catch Steve Loving to get win number 1 in the PRL Truck Series?
It is looking very possible right now.
Oh!
Hold on. Good.
Maybe not. Maybe not. No, we're not good.
Oh,
around they go.
No yellow. He's on the. He's on.
There's
there
caution.
it is. And we're done. I think
Race is over.
confident we're done. Like, that's Stacey Hunter turned around. They tried to save it. I thought for a moment the admins were going to let it race out, but I guess not. So.
Oh, it's a caution. The admins don't throw them in here. This is that's an iRacing caution.
That's fair. Yeah, I shouldn't blame the admins for that. But yeah, you're right. This is an oval, not a road course. But I thought he was going to keep it down there and keep the caution, put away. But that's all right. This is a great race, and I'm saying it now preemptively. I could be wrong. Congrats to Steve Loving. It is highly unlikely we get green here again. Now, I'm going to say that because we've already caught the pace car, but I don't think so. I think we're done. They would open this time by, go round.
Yeah,
I think we're done. Yeah.
Yeah.
At most, maybe a one-lap shootout, but I don't think so.
No, I think we're done.
What a first opening crazy run this was. If you're an Xfinity driver watching this, I'm curious what you learned.
Let's a lot of the Xfinity drivers are paying attention. Our favorite people apparently are not
Let's
not
watch
here.
this replay first. They leaned on each other for a while, and then just no one gave, and that's what happened. Now getting to the bottom. Nice job there, whoever that was. That's Panzarella who avoided that. And as counterintuitive as it seems here, Terry, yeah, people are pitting. I think there's some guys who think we're not done. I don't get it. Unless we're at incident point limits. Let me check for black flags. Give me a second.
I think we're done. I don't.
McCarvey doesn't think so. I mean, I agree with you. There's your lucky dog going around.
If we take one to green here, we get a one-lap shootout.
Wow. In which case, I still don't understand pitting, for the record. No disrespect to Kevin McGarvey and others, but
If we get a one-lap shootout, this is going to be absolute chaos. It'll be fun for us.
yeah, there's some popcorn and a soda, and I'm going to sit back and let you talk about it, and I'm going to enjoy it.
Because we have to cross the line with a minute 50 or a minute 45 to take a green flag run. So we're at 2 minutes even at the moment.
That pace car, his lights are up. He thinks we're going green next time, but I'll tell you what. I mean, they're not off. I lied.
Well, we have to cross the line before 143 to take
Hurry up.
the one to go right here.
Go.
So 6 seconds. And we will. No, we won't. This race is over. Yeah, that lap time right there will tell us exactly what it is. We'll double file it. 142. And we cross the line with 137.
I think as counterintuitive as it is to the rules, I think iRacing is going to put them green. Now, here's the... I don't want to bring this up because I hate some of these things. Here's what could happen. No, that's not right. I don't know. I've seen iRacing in this format of a timed race. I've seen iRacing put them green to the line, which is sort of silly. It's going to be like a 200-foot dash. I don't know if that's what's going to happen here. I've seen it happen in iRacing before. We just go green, but that was like 200 feet. That won't be very exciting. I don't know. I'm as confused as you are, folks. I don't like being uninformed, but I'm uninformed, Terry Bradford.
We'll see when the timer ends. The timer is done in 32 seconds. So we will see the white flag and the checkered flag displayed off the exit of turn 4. This race should be official.
I think they're going to put him green to the line. I do. I don't know why I think that. I've seen it before in iRacing.
It's going to be fun.
Let me listen to... Yeah, they're talking to race control from the cars. Let's see what's going to happen here.
Pace cars down and in. Flags over. One to go. Final lap. Green flags in the air. Yeah, one lap. One lap to go. This is it. You see the fight right here. Loving got a good jump. Wrecking doesn't matter in iRacing. They can wreck all day. The fight's for the lead. It's three trucks on top of each other. Steve Loving, Hayden Palumbo, Cody Atkins, Colton Easterday puts his way into this. They go down the back straightaway like a bunch of fighter pilots, and it's side by side for the race lead. Here comes Palumbo to the outside. He's going to try to get the run, but it's all for the moment. The 27 of Steve Loving rounds turn 3 and 4. The strategy pays off. He's going to get win number 2 in the Michigan State. What a lap.
Really, obviously a great battle for the lead, but the highlight of the lap was what was happening behind them. No disrespect to Steve Loving and the Hayden Palumbo, those guys, but they were 4 and 5 wide back there for 15th place. Holy hell.
Steve Loving getting, believe that would be win number 3 for his PRL debut, and you see the fight back here in the back. Every spot counts 4 wide that they go, and they didn't wreck it. They all held it in line, and there's McGarvey on the bottom. He rounds out this field. Where did McGarvey finish? 13th. So he comes in 13th here, so not too crazy as Loving burns it down on the front straightaway. We'll take a look at our results here. What an eventful first show as Loving gets the win. Hayden Palumbo, Colton Easterday, your top 3. Big day, as somebody said in the chat, for Colton Easterday fans, as Cody Atkins comes home 4th. Brett Adams, Ryan Travers, Zach Panzarella with a very eventful race comes home 7th. Dallas Sullivan, Dylan Schmidt, and Tama Macy from a wreck to the top 10, Derek.
And that's just amazing. Let's go to 11th, Zachary Austin, Richard Pruitt in 12th. Kevin McCarby finished 13th. Alan Deitch points her back to 14th. Timothy Emanuel in 15th. Then you got Dalton Geyer, Barron Hilton, Edward Peltz, Robert Goff, and Garrett Austin rounding out your top 20.
Finishing out the rest of your field, Stacy Hunter, Adam Shane, Matthew Karakoff, your pole sitter. This is the used truck lot here. Pennington, Brendel, Beaver, Goff, Ronald Overbay, and Stephen Kirby. Your 29 trucks. That took time here. Bradley Holly was not in the server. He will be racing in the Xfinity Series with Colton Easterday getting the point for the fastest time with a 39.844. And speaking of Colton Easterday, let's go ahead and grab our 3rd place driver of the evening and move him up here to talk to us. Colton Easterday, it's about time you got to the podium here in the Truck Series. Congratulations.
Thank you. I can't believe I actually finally raced my way in here.
How did that work for you?
Man, well, first off, I'll take 3rd in the PRL any day, but it was I ended up going in on that second to last caution, getting tires, and I drove from 12th to 3rd, so I'd say it worked out. I'm very happy with that race.
Well, we go next week to IRP, and if season 1 for us was any indication of what next week's going to be, what's qualifying going to be for you? How important are you going to focus on that hot lap?
I'm going to do a lot of laps because qualifying is really my biggest thing, especially on them short tracks. If you get up front, you're probably going to stay there. Probably going to be a lot of green flag racing, so I'm going to be turning a lot of laps.
Well, Colton, you got a lot of fans out there that was watching, and they said it's a big day for Colton Easterday to get a top 3. Got anybody you want to say hey to?
I want to say thanks to everybody watching. Thanks to the Dinner Detective for sponsoring me. I'm happy. I'll take 3rd any day.
Yes, sir. That's Colton Easterday, driver of the number 9 machine for Regan Bogue Motorsports. Brings it home P3, and we'll go ahead and grab our winner. We'll do this a little out of order as we'll grab Steve Loving, who gets a good win this afternoon. And Steve Loving, congratulations on the win, my man. It's win number 3 for you here in the PRL. How does this one feel? The strategy paid off.
Yeah, it feels pretty good. I really hosed it up early on and kind of had to go mow the lawn and kind of pick up a side hobby. But after that, I had to figure out a plan B and kind of regroup and just be patient and try to find a way to get back up in top 3. And lucky, I wasn't expecting a first place finish. There's some fast guys out there, but it was a great race.
Well, we go to IRP. I'll ask you the same question I asked Colton there. Track position's going to be key. Are you going to focus on qualifying laps next week, or are you going to focus on the race run?
I always try to focus on qualifying, but I suck at qualifying. I can never get a hot lap in to save my life. I need people like Karakoff or whatever to coach me. So, but until that happens, I just need to fight for it and try to figure it out in the long haul and treat it like a marathon versus sprint.
I like that idea. And congratulations on winning today's race at Michigan. Anybody want to say hey to?
Yeah, I want to thank my team, my current team, Love Racing, and also Team CPR out there. I worked with them a little bit. Karakoff had a great run. It was sad to see him drop back, and I was actually hoping for some more laps for Hayden and I to really tough it out with each other. But unfortunate, it was a one-lap shootout at the end for a lot of accidents. But I think everybody was really just pushing for position. Everybody's really being greedy and getting overexcited and kind of overdriving the trucks. But nonetheless, we got Michigan behind us, and we can move on to the next one.
So, Steve, real quick, got another question for you before I let you go. We were really confused up in the booth about the whole timer, the 1 to go, what was going to happen. When did you know for sure we were going 1 to go?
So when we crossed the start finish, I think it's about 1:30 left. And usually, if it's under caution, it'll give you a white flag. And when it's going to give you a white flag under caution, it'll do this weird like shootout thing where it'll say, it basically expects you to race to the finish, but everybody
like the 200 feet or whatever.
Yeah, it's really weird, but it never did that. So we all assumed we were going to just go green and have 1 to go. And when that happened, I knew I was going to have to defend the inside line of 1 and 2. Knew Hayden's going to get a run up high. I did not want to go high and give him a draft, so I stayed low because that's the slower line to box him in, and figured if I could keep them side by side, I would have free reign in 3 and 4.
Good job tonight. Good job on the win.
All right, thank you.
It's Steve Loving, driver of the 27 machine. From spin to win is how he got it done this afternoon. We got Hayden Palumbo in here. He's going to stand by with Derek Watson.
Hayden Palumbo, how you doing? Great race tonight. What were your thoughts on the experience as a whole?
I'm extremely frustrated, to tell you the truth. It's just the way that the restart works, and I mean, I know it's fair, but like, you can't speed. Like, if you get too close, you make contact, well then you have somebody screaming at you, and I don't know, just frustrated.
Well, a P2 tonight is a very solid run. Was that better than you expected?
Oh, absolutely. I was honestly going to be happy with a top 10. Didn't think I'd be up on the podium, but had a really fast run there, kind of unexpectedly.
Fair enough. Well, Terry Raptor's been asking everybody so far. Of course, next week we go to IRP, one of the shortest tracks you could run at. Are you more concerned about the qualifying lap or the race lap?
Definitely the race lap. I feel like I can, put something up in the top 5, to qualify, but racing's going to be difficult because, you get the bozos behind you from 5th on back, you get ran all over, so we'll have to err at caution there. So,
all right, well, before we let you go tonight, anyone you want to say hello to or give any thanks to?
Just all the folks out there watching Team CPR. Keep watching us.
Yeah, big run tonight for Team CPR in the points, and good job tonight, and we'll see you next week at IRP.
Yes,
all right,
sir.
Well, Terry, listen, real quick before you transition over to Xfinity, I want to point out to you, you mentioned at the start of this broadcast, it would take a big night for Team CPR to get back in the points battle. That might have been it.
I felt like I had it called that we were going to be okay, and they did a fantastic job to work their way up into a position, and for Steve to get it done, for Palumbo to be up there. It was a very good run. The only thing that really broke them up was that Regan Bogue Motorsports machine, a Colton Easter Day. That top 2 finish was good, and they had some troubles with the competitors as well. But we'll transition the focus over to the NASCAR Xfinity Series, which, well, guess what? Surprise! We're at Michigan. As you take a look at this one, Road America was last week, Michigan, and, well, Derek, I'm not going to miss next Wednesday night. It's Indianapolis road course with Watkins Glen following that, and then Daytona wrapping our season up.
I'm looking forward to that Daytona race. It'll be our first time calling one side by side with you, and I don't know, but yeah, this is that part of that schedule all these guys feared with the 3 road courses in 4 weeks. But let's go and take a look at the driver points here real quick as we move over. Richard Regan Jr. has a 10-point lead over Abner Acosta. Bradley Holly is in 3rd. Elliott White's in 4th. And Ted Lowendick here in P5. Then going back through 6 through 10 is Thomas Sink, Adam Zimke, Joey Tebben, Nicholas Hunter there, and then Nick McLaughlin round out your top 10. Now, we don't have the graphic of the team points. We'll talk about that later. But here we are. So what's different, Terry Radford? I know, but I'm going to ask you, put you on the spot. So if you want to race this Xfinity car at Michigan, you just watch the trucks do it for 40 minutes. It's a looser race car, right? It's harder to handle here?
Well, the big difference is these are not wide open. You're going to have to lift. You're going to have to drive these things a little bit more unstable than what you saw in the truck series. You're not going to be ripping wide open, drafting like crazy. You'll get the draft down the back straightaway, but it makes you lift just a little bit more into the corner. And, well, the aggression level also is a bit different, as we'll see if these drivers, as we've seen throughout the season, if they're going to be as aggressive as possible. We'll take a look right here at the 06. That's Joey Tebben doing some testing throughout the week. We had a good conversation last night, kind of explained the line that I ran here yesterday. And he took a lot. I'm sure I hope he took a lot out of what I said, because this is one of my favorite places to race. Well, because it's wide open.
Yeah, this is a great place to race. And Joey's had an incredible season. And ironically, you know, he's done so much better on the ovals than he has the road courses, which is not what I expected out of him, honestly. And, you know, last week when Lorenzo and I talked to him after the race, all he could say was, I can't wait for the next oval. He was ready to leave a road course and come back to an oval. That surprised me a lot. We're riding on board here with Joey Tebben. So we're going to come down here into 3 and 4. Now listen to that. That was off throttle time right there. That's a lot of off throttle time, it felt like.
Yeah, you're lifting quite a bit here, and Joey's going to come across the line. Going to slot Mr. Tebben provisionally P1 with the 39, but not for long as Elliott White comes out. But a big slide there for Joey. Oh, into the wall he goes. Laps over.
Yep, that's a moment we don't talk about a lot. I feel like in this series when qualifying, but yeah, according to iRacing, if you get an incident point, tapping a wall or going off the track, that disqualifies your lap. Here's Richard Regan Jr. Now going to come out here and take the high line here. Let's watch the difference in the line here. Let's sit back and let's watch for a second. See what's different from a truck line.
It's about the same line. You just run. You change your entry point to a degree or so. Your turn down isn't as aggressive as it is in the trucks. You don't necessarily have to yank the wheel in this one as Abner Acosta moves his way to second. You see how he's going to ride the high side in turns 3 and 4. He'll stay in that secondary groove, not up on the very tip top, but he'll get to the wall and then he'll sweep that thing all the way down and stay right on the white line. You don't want to go onto the apron here. It's a balance and a force that you just don't want to take, especially in these cars. His second lap, he's going to run almost to the bottom.
Yeah, if you get down to the apron in these cars, you'll wiggle that car so hard that it'll be quite the ride that will not benefit you, I don't believe. That first run puts Regan about 9/10 of a second off of the pole, puts him back in P17 again. Look how close this field is. This is amazing how close this is. Now, there he's going to get down in the apron. Decides there's nothing to lose here because it's the transition back up that's scary off the apron. It's not the down, it's the up. So when you're killing a qualifying lap, and by the way, oh my goodness, about the P4 there.
Yeah, and you see Evans and Lowendick, because Daniel Knight almost scared himself. He'll come to the line here. Daniel Knight's going to slide a 39.3 out of it. That's going to slide Daniel Knight P3 on the board, and you see the 0.00000 or 0.135 for Lowendick and Evans. They were separated right there by 1/1000th of a second. It was a 39.390 to a 39.391 between Evans and Lowendick. So some speed being found, but it is still Elliott White with a 39.987 holds the top spot, and not too shabby for the drivers who have yet to qualify. Cervantes, Cowgill, you see on the track right now, and Reese Bogue have not come on to the racetrack to put a lap down, and Cervantes and Bogue are not going to get one in, but we'll see this lap count as 39.6. That should slide this driver 19th. He will not get a second lap.
He will not. Patrick Cowgill is a local native here to Michigan. In fact, Terry, he's raced this car in one of those was it the Rusty Wallace, the Richard Petty, whichever one's at your local track. He's been on this track in real life before.
Well, we'll see if that plays into a factor here this afternoon as Elliott White for Precision Racing Esports locks out the front row with his teammate Abner Acosta to the outside. Daniel Knight, Adam Zimke, row 2, Richard Regan Jr., and RaceSpot's own Joey Tebbin rounding out 6th.
Going back to P7's Jeff Evans with Ted Lowendick back there in 8th. Matt Gagnon in 9th with Thomas Sink in 10th. Mike Witt and Colton Lane round out your top 12.
13th, you got Nick McLaughlin and that dirty Kentucky blue Mark Kalin with Doyle Lawrence and Mike Knight. 16th, Bradley, the beautiful hair Holly, and Jacob Emery in the 18th.
Pick up of 19th of Patrick Cowgill, the local boy, with Nick Byer on his outside. Then you got Chad Kibbe and Nicholas Hunter there, 22nd, pardon me. And then Jim Westerfield and Danny Cervantes, 23rd, 24th. And then last is Reese Bogue from Regan Bogue Motorsports back there in P25. Well, Terry, much different race, 10 more minutes on the clock. So that will factor a little bit in how many cautions we could have. Now I'm going to put you on the spot. If you had to stop right now to take a guess, more or less cautions than the truck race?
More.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, more. Car's way looser, but I tell you what, I'm kind of curious. I'll poke the brain of the driver who's going to start 8th. He's down here waiting on us, and Ted Lowendick. It's the boys up here in the booth. What's up, man?
Well,
P8?
I'm getting a snack, so.
Oh, what are you eating? What are you eating?
Some jerky. It's all right.
Some jerky? What kind of jerky?
Well, it's from Texas.
Oh, okay.
It's called Robertson's. Pretty good.
Does it
No
have
sponsor,
a flavor? Does it have a flavor?
Yeah, what's the flavor?
Just
Asking
regular,
for-
I don't know.
Okay,
It's just jerky. It's just
all
jerky.
right, fair enough.
But it's really chewy, so I literally just popped it in as soon as you guys pulled me in, so I'm sorry.
We have timing. That's okay.
It's the most perfect time. So I got a question for you. We talked last night, and not often that people listen to me in the broadcast side of things. I've had to run the line. What did you learn yesterday talking to me that helped you qualify up here, and what are you going to take in the race?
I remember last night you said when in traffic, lift.
A lot.
We have to lift in these cars, yeah.
Yeah.
We don't want to slide the right front, don't want to push too hard. Don't know if we're going to have long stints, short stints, who knows. Just want to take care of the stuff to start out and see what happens. But yeah.
Well, remember the line I told you. If you're going to run a line around here, that middle groove, that 3rd to 4th groove is really good. But if you want to make a pass on the bottom, that 2nd groove right before you get to where there's no banking on the very, very bottom, run that groove. You count 4 of them across, 5 if you go down the back straightaway. Go right into that big, wide sweeping when you'll make a good pass. But enjoy your jerky and enjoy your race. Make sure you wash it down with an ice cold Coca-Cola Zero Sugar for me.
Well, I've got a Coca-Cola, but it's not zero sugar.
It's not zero sugar. Stop
Hey,
with that nasty stuff.
as long as you're drinking a Coca-Cola, I'm very excited. Thanks for talking to us. We'll you can tell your teammates they better stand by, because if we turn into a caution fest, I'm gonna yank them up too.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. Have a good fun.
Thanks, sir.
Like Ted.
That's Ted Lowendick driver of the 72, starting 8th. We'll see if this race is anything like the Truck Series fields in the hands of Elliott White. Green flags in the air. We're racing for round number 7 in the NASCAR Xfinity Series for the PRL.
Well, didn't take long to see 3-4 wide racing back there, Terry. There they are right there, racing hard. But we're going to get through a full lap, I think, of green flag racing. Look at them all the way down to the bottom. Man, that's impressive here with how loose this car is.
That they don't jinx us, and lap 1 is complete here for the Xfinity Series drivers. There is something a little interesting that was around last week. Mike Witt, big wall tap there. We'll see who driver that was that smacked the outside wall pretty hard. But Mike Witt was suspended a couple weeks ago. He was back last week for Richmond, and here he goes here. 2 weeks ago. He was Road America last week, but yeah. Correct. So he was suspended in the Cup. He's here in the Xfinity Series, and good to see that he's having a little bit more speed here. He finds himself currently in 13th, having a good run of that 88 Hellman's machine. Pretty tame so far. I think they learned something from the Xfinity race.
And I think the fact that you can't be wide out, as you pointed out here, does help a little bit. The fact you have to lift means you're not on each other quite as much as you are in the truck. There's a little bit of space to give here. It'll work itself out. So, look at that nice crossover there.
Good bit of action going on in the front. Richard Regan Jr. takes the race lead from Abner Acosta. Elliott White starting to slide back through this field as here comes Daniel Knight. He'll make the pass for 3rd. That's going to put Matt Gagnon in 5th as well. And this is a very interesting top 10, to say the least, with Zemke, Evans, and we'll take a look at the wall hit here off the exit of the corner. Bubbles the wall sponge, at it again.
You know what? And that is, for some reason, because the speed you carry out of the corners here, that is such an easy thing to do out of the corners here, out of 2 and 4, is to scuff that wall. And you can always tell when a wall hit happens here, because it just like people just spread all across the track to want to avoid you. But yeah, Mark Kalen's still moving, so we'll stay green.
They spread like ants or peanut butter?
They spread like melted butter and I don't know. I was gonna say they scurry like cockroaches, but that's kind of a weird, kind of a gross thing, isn't it?
I like it. I mean, you know cockroaches can survive an atomic blast, right?
I do know that.
Yeah. That's why I'm always curious what's in the bug spray, but the battle for the lead is like bug spray, as Abner Acosta's to the inside of Richard Regan Jr. for the top spot. And these are the two drivers competing at the moment, very, not closely, but very close-knit with each other points-wise. And with the road courses on the horizon for Abner Acosta, it's an opportunity to creep in to the championship picture on the number 56 of Richard Regan Jr. for Regenboog Motorsports, as this could be a huge momentum shift as Elliott White's went back to 3rd, Knight's back to 4th. Gagnon, who has had a good qualifying run, hopefully he can have a good race run, currently sits 5th with Jeff Evans right behind him.
I'm coming back in my head and I had to stop for a second think, did you say spreads like peanut butter?
Yeah.
All right, whatever. It's not, when I thought of spreads, peanut butter is not the easiest thing to spread. Like, butter, jelly.
What do you mean peanut butter? What kind of peanut butter are you spreading on your sandwich?
Chunky.
Oh, y'all are both ridiculous. It's creamy or nothing.
So what you guys can't hear what Terry's mad about is our producer Justin Ollis is in our ear, and he and I both said chunky at the same time. So
the exact same time. Like, it was the freakiest thing. I thought we were in the Step Brothers thing. It was like, name your favorite magazine. Good Housekeeping. And it's like, no, I can't say it at the same time. Dustin, we're supposed to be on the same side here. Volunteer fan. Derek's supposed to be the odd person out. You can't agree with him. You're supposed to agree with me.
Oh, don't you worry. Derek's always the odd person out. Don't you worry about that. But we're still agreeing here. Abner Acosta is doing a great job. He came in tonight 10 points down Richard Regan. He did not get the point for the pole. He did get the point for the pole. Sorry. So gained a little bit of small gap there. And yeah, you said right, with IMS and the Glen coming up, you would have to think Abner Acosta's in the catbird seat to still have a shot at this title. And of course, we ended Daytona. Who knows? That's such a scary ending, isn't it?
Yeah, what's scary for the competition is the fact that Reese Bogue has come from the back of the field to jump up here, and he's going to slide in front of Mike Witt. And correction, Elliott White got the pole this afternoon. He started on the top spot, so no points. It's Elliott that got it. He's currently sitting, I believe it was third in the points. And it's a net gain for Reese Bogue of 11. He is the biggest mover of the race thus far. He had the furthest to go. And for anybody who's Danny Cervantes fans, he is not here either. So no Cervantes.
I know he was on the grid. I know Danny's been having a lot of problems with his wheelbase lately. That's been really just kind of causing him to leave races early. I don't know if that's what happened or if he just wasn't going to race tonight. But coming back to Reese Bogue, you made the comment and the joke in the truck race that I'm getting old. Man, and I am. We had a talk with Reese Bogue, 2-3 weeks ago after Atlanta. The kid's 17? He's so freaking talented. Like, man, talk about when you feel old. When a 17-year-old was out here racing and doing that stuff, and he's been on iRacing for a while, if I remember right. So that makes me feel even older than what I already do.
What makes me feel really old is the fact that when I do the Carolina Pro late models, they have 13-year-olds out there winning races. So I understand that.
I imagine what makes you feel old is trying to remember the last time that Tennessee won the national title. Because I think my Ohio State Buckeyes have done it since your Tennessee Volunteers have done it.
And we're going to mute Derek Watson. We'll just move on like he was never here. I'm Terry Radford. We'll go solo the rest of this race. Says, Patrick Cowgill almost wrecks it off the exit of 4. And you see Nicholas Hunter back here fighting with Jim Westerfield. Doyle Lawrence is fighting it out as well. This is the battle for the 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th position. As this has been the closest fight so far. And I think there's a ghost in here potentially, as you see the 109 of Nicholas Hunter starting to put the little side draft here.
Listen, all kidding aside, apparently Patrick Cowgill racing here in real life has not helped him at all because he's having a tough night in that vehicle.
Having a really tough night, and you have to imagine, and I don't want to, if this offends anybody, don't care.
This is that one. We should get a graphic for this. Terry Radford offends someone of the week moment.
Patrick Cowgill coming to race the Xfinity Series. While I think it was a good idea, you know how many races he probably would have won in the Truck Series this season? I would imagine we're sitting here looking at what the Truck Champion would have been. This is a massive jump from the Truck to the Xfinity Series, which is why I enjoyed the Road to Pro process, or process as my friends in England says. But it goes Truck to Xfinity, but you have a lot of time. It's the battle for the race lead. But if you're Patrick Cowgill, I'm jumping back down next season. I'm going back to the trucks to build some confidence and win, because he's got a lot of speed and a lot of talent. I just would personally take him there.
Yeah, I mean, that's a choice every driver has to make, and it comes down to what you're comfortable with and what you want to do. And I wouldn't be upset if he wants to stay and and challenge himself more here. But it's always an option available here, and not too long from now, by the way. Not yet, but not too long from now, registration will open for PRL for season 4. So if you're like, hey, I want to do this, you can. There are 6 nights of racing. 6 nights of racing for PRL. Sundays, well, currently Sundays, Terry Radford's on the call for the Cup Series. Monday night is changing next season, so I don't want to say what it is because I know I'm going to be wrong. I know it involves prototypes and IMSA style racing. Tuesday night's GT3s. Wednesday night is this, Xfinity and Truck. And then Thursday night is F3 racing. So whatever you want to race, there's plenty of it in PRL. Those registrations will open soon. I'm sure we'll tell you once they do.
Oh, yeah, it'll be all over the precision racing esports world of things. We'll tell you what you can do to be a part of this series. You can also, if you're watching this and you have no idea what this is iRacing. You can join iRacing for 50% off with code PR-Outlaws. Take a look at the battle for 10th with Joey Tebben. And then you also got Colt Lane fighting it out. Our other Tennessee volunteer fan, the number 60 throwback looking scheme to the old great Mark Martin. I like Joey in this situation myself. I think I was surprised to an extent that we've been green this entire time. But as the run progresses, I think we're going to see a little bit more issues. See the 68 of Mike Knight and the 66 of Nick McLaughlin fighting it out for 14th.
As this run goes on, what's going to happen is you're going to see who was willing to save some tires, because the drivers who raced hard, maybe raced those bottom grooves and made a lot of passes, they're the ones more likely to start to bring that back end around in the corners and lose these race cars. That's what we'll start to see here as this run goes on. By the way, we forgot to tell Steve Loving he qualified for the winner's race.
Oh, we did. Darn it.
Steve Loving, if you're listening.
Well, he qualified for it earlier.
That's true.
When he won earlier in the season. And he hasn't accepted his invite.
Oh,
hard wall in the back.
Mike Knight, I think it was. Or Daniel Knight, pardon me.
That's Daniel Knight, who was having a phenomenal run. Popped the wall in the Tommy's Pub Ford Mustang, and that's a good chunk of damage to the right side of that machine, as he's going to fall outside the top 10, top 15 easily here with 37:45 left on the clock.
Well, so far, this has been a much cleaner race than the trucks, despite, I think, you and I both being skeptical. But we're, 13 minutes in, 12.5 minutes in, and we're green. This has been a good race so far. Now it's going to start to single file out a little bit here compared to the trucks. There is a groove here, and Abner Acosta is still leading Richard Regan here. But let's watch this again. This will be Knight here. He'll come off that. Ooh.
He just slid it.
I think it was a little too. Remember the bumps you talked about back in the last race with the transition? I think he was just too low out of the corner, and the car did not like that transition, I think.
Yeah, not the biggest fan of the transition off the groove, but this has been the story of the season thus far. We've had some comers and goers in this. Is the 66 of McLaughlin back here fighting, trying to get around Daniel Knight in the 17. But we've had some comers and goers, but it has mainly been Abner and Richard fighting consistently with each other. As here comes Jim Westerfield. He's going to come look to the bottom side. This is going to be for the 15th position to put Jim up here. And Jim's another one of those drivers who has a ton of speed, is starting to figure things out, but can't quit getting caught up in bad luck.
Yeah, it seems like he has been caught up in a lot of bad luck this season. Going over here, we are side by side through the corner, Terry Radford. That's Richard Regan trying to get around Abner Acosta.
He's not going to get the run this time, but he's got a fender in there. He'll go down the back straightaway into 3 and 4. We'll see if Richard's able to make this pass work. He'll slide up, almost make contact.
That's the old
Abner pinched him. Yeah, 8 tires are better than 4.
At
What
the
a
line
drag
should be a
race.
beautiful drag race. This would be if it were the ending, and it would be Abner at the line by 10 to 100 by 1/100th of a second. Can't believe they let us do math up here. You know that?
Yeah, it's never fun.
Next season, Am I Right is going to be a mathematician, I think.
Well, I think Richard's going to get him here. Abner couldn't pinch him. Abner's loose. Look at that back end step out. Got two drivers that pitted, Mark Kalin and Patrick Cowgill, who were both having just dismal runs. Come down pit lane here. That's not going to force the race leaders to make a jump. But the lap times have dropped over 2 seconds here. I would imagine that the tires are starting to fade away. Track temp's still pretty warm. It's going to be fun to see as Richard is really starting to pull away on Abner here. The draft just really isn't helping as the center of the corner has been the fast part for our driver in the number 56.
Yeah, it has been for sure. Call me conspiracy theorist, and I've been before, but man, doesn't it feel like Elliott White got a little bit closer in the draft once he could help a teammate in Abner Acosta right there? I was wondering why he was so far back in third place, but I think since Abner fell back, it's like Elliott now is trying to get up there and help Abner in that draft. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe it's the visual optic, but that's just what I noticed here.
He's starting to close in just a little bit, but who I'm very impressed with is Jeff Evans in the 51 Miracle Flow car. It just got around there for that fourth place spot as you see Gagnon and Zemke going after each other for the top 5. Then you got Lowendick back there as well. He did what he wanted to do so far, keeping the nose clean. Adam Zemke, this battle for 5th is all the way back to 9th. Been a good fight so far as you see them still side by side. They'll go down the back straightaway here, and Zemke should be able to get the run. Sell it down there in the corner. Derek, what do you think here? What lap you pitting on? If you want to do some math, let's do some math.
I don't want to do math. What am I pitting? At least not till halfway. I think I had this talk with Lorenzo last week about there's this mental game you play in your head. Like it's almost like you're in a little negotiation. All right, well, if I pit now, it'll feel great, but there's more race left than's already happened. So like the car's going to feel worse than it does right now at the end of the race. And there's this mental negotiation you play with yourself about when do you want to pit. I'm at least a halfway person, but you also have to factor in at what point do you pit for tires that's effective. If you wait till you run this thing out of gas, you could do that strategy, but then the tires won't have time to kick in. I'm a halfway kind of guy.
Halfway could be a good strategy, and that would put us at the 25-minute mark. Did you see it right here? Gagnon's trying to go, try not to go 3 wide. He made sure he forced up there to the outside to keep the 72 of Lowendick out of his lane, and Colton Lane working his way into this fight with Thomas Sink. All of these drivers fighting to secure their spot inside the top 10 even better. We've almost got to the halfway point. The lead has changed a few times, back and forth between Richard and Abner. Abner's starting to close back in just a tad bit. That decent burst that we saw out of the 56 of Richard Regan Jr. And here it goes. It's close. I think we're about to have a battle for the race lead again as Abner is there. He's going to do his quarter panel on the outside.
Regan's going to do his best job to slide up out of the corner here and, block that run. Good job. But now he gives him the draft down the back straight, and Elliott White not that far back, so Abner will get a little bit of help from Elliott. Let's see what he does with it.
Looking at the lap times that has been from lap 8 on to now, and best lap he put down was a 39.445. That was on a lap number 2. So the second lap that he threw down was phenomenal. The last time he crossed the start-finish line, once it updates all the way, was a 41.327. But Richard has the fastest single lap. We'll look at long run wise as we saw on our graphic. It was dead even between him and Abner Acosta. And crazy enough, Elliott White was faster as there goes Abner. He goes to the inside, washed up just a little bit, got to the door.
Well, that feels familiar, doesn't it?
It feels like it happened to him at one point in time. And this time for the drag race to the line, if this was how it ended, the bottom lane would have prevailed. The outside prevailed last time. The inside of Abner would have prevailed.
1,000th of a second is what it was at the line, Terry Radford. 1,000th of a second. And that bottom lane will not hold. That will wear out Abner's tire, so he's got to get in line somewhere. Let's see what he can do with it. By the way, I want to put a cheap plug for a second, if you don't mind.
Oh, please do. I love cheap plugs.
I know you do. If you are a driver in this league and you're like, why don't they ever talk about me in the broadcast? Why don't we ever have quotes from me, or they don't know about me? You got to check your Discord DMs. I send out lots of DMs every week asking for feedback from the drivers about thoughts on the race and small notes we can use. And I know Discord has this thing where it doesn't want to let you see new DMs from people. So pay attention to your message requests. There's a bunch of you out there who I have poked and prodded and heard nothing from. So just a small plug. Make sure you check those. But yeah, back to the racing here. Look at this beautiful 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 car line here. If they could get that lined up and hold a line here, there's no reason why that's. I mean, that's Teddy and that's Nick, right? That's McLaughlin. That's not Joey Tebben right there.
That's Ted Lowendick. That's Joey Tebben. Yeah, sitting in 10th, trying to get around the 60. So flip the numbers around for the 06 and the 60. And Bradley Holly having a uncharacteristic Bradley Holly race. Sitting back here in 11th. Hadn't really made a whole lot of noise. We have not talked about him until now. That's kind of unheard of that we haven't talked about the man that's sitting in the top 3 of all-time PRL wins.
Yeah, and of course had a great run last week at Road America. So nice job for him. But I was going to say, if these 6 cars could get in line theoretically, they could make up time in the leaders, but they're more interested in battling each other than they are doing that. Look at this. It's Richard Regan pitting, apparently. Well, he's falling down the line. Is he pitting?
Yeah, on pit lane goes the race leader of Richard Regan Jr.
I was watching the bottom right graphic of the battle, and I was like, whoa, Regan, there he is down pit lane. So almost the halfway marker for Richard Regan. He's decided that's enough. He wants to get some fresh tires on it.
It's not the earliest I've seen this. Thomas Sink, Matt Gagnon almost caused the incident, and that would have made Richard very angry if the caution flag would have waved.
Played out for Richard. Right now it would have. One more lap and be bad. I think he could have got off pit road in time, but now it would be very bad. Here's another
plate, slow down.
That's going to be speeding. I'm going to check on that.
Reese Bogue looked like he cooked that thing in there as well. Ton of tire smoke from both, and we will see, does that bring out the black flag for Colton Lane and Reese Bogue, who were sitting right in the top 10, and no penalty. They shouldn't get it to the box, but this has to force Abner Acosta to pit this time.
I heard the call from Mike Witt. Look at Abner way outside.
Still ain't pitting.
He's pitting there, no. I heard Mike Witt put the call out. He's going to pit this time by.
Still nothing from our leaders, and I would imagine that when Richard, I mean, this long strategy has worked 2 seasons ago and last season. We were able to watch Abner and Richard both play the long game and wait to pit. And when push came to shove, they went to victory lane with that strategy call. It was close, but they made it work at Texas.
What I would think I would want to do if I was Abner, since he's not pitting. Oh, here comes.
Oh, there's Elliott.
There's Elliott. Never mind. I was going to say what I'd want to do if I was Abner, if Elliott wasn't pitting, is I'd want to back up to Elliott and use that draft to help out. But Richard Regan now a new fastest lap. Not a surprise. Brand new tires, worn in track. 39.372.
Okay, that's impressive. Because if you're Richard at the moment, you were 0.2 of a second faster than Abner Acosta's fastest lap. So he is gaining at an accelerated pace. As you see the gap right there, that is to the race leader himself. As here comes Abner Acosta, a little bit conservative. Onto pit lane, Jeff Evans, Adam Zimke, Nick McLaughlin comes down Or now, sorry, it's Joey Tebbin. McLaughlin just came off a pit lane. Nicholas Hunter's in. The 109 makes his way from 11th onto pit road. Westerfield's in. That's going to leave the field in the hands of Thomas Sink, but your net race leader would be the 14 potentially, or the driver in 14th, the 56 of Richard Regan Jr., potentially by a massive margin.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on the pit deltas and see what happens here. But yeah, right now Richard Regan's turning some fast laps. Now the question is, can Abner do it, right? See if he can put some new tires on. Maybe he can match these laps and keep that pace. But I mean, right now Regan is just in a class of his own coming around here. Just the track all to himself, by the way. Look, he's in like an endurance road race. There's just no one around.
Yeah, he's gone. He's going into 3 and 4. They just got to the 3/4 mark of turns 3 and 4. He pitted 2 to 3 laps sooner than the top 3. So you see all the way back here, that's 7.5 seconds. Now he is gaining, but he's got a long way to go, as a lot of other drivers came down pit lane except for Chad Kibbe. He is your race leader for the moment, but, well, we'll see what fresh tires and old tires look like. Look at the corner speed. And gone.
And by the way, all kidding aside, we're doing the jaw thing to be funny, but when you're a driver and someone passes you on new tires, it makes you jealous and frustrated. Like, oh man, he can do that? Like, it's so defeating to watch someone get around new tires like that. But yeah, that's a great run by Regan. Want to point out, by the way, Regan had a half a second faster pit stop than Abner Acosta. So even on pit road, Regan was a little bit faster.
Yeah, Elliott got around Abner there, and
this would be their only hope, I would think, by the way, right here. This would be their only hope. Working together, I mean, to catch Richard Regan. And I don't think they have the time to do it, but this would be the way to do it.
I think they're going to need a caution, because the tires are going to even themselves out.
So now you're going to use that. Now you're going to use that word.
Yes.
We've had a nice, clean race. A little bit of beating and banging, a little bit of hanging on the door. You got to go and use that kind of language.
We're going to need it. And if you're Chad Kibbe, you're praying for it. You're not hoping. You're praying that a caution flag waves.
That I agree with.
I think we're gonna have. I don't want to throw it out there that it would very much so need to be there. As here goes Abner on Elliott White. He's going to make this pass. It's 1 lap fresher tires. That makes a good bit of a difference. But he now has a 5-second lead as Chad Kibbe almost became the caution.
Wow, what a gap this has become for Richard Regan. I mean, that's got to be more than just a pit stop at this point. It's got to be this pure pace and confidence, and clean air matters a lot here. It's such a wow. By the way, random fact that I know Terry Radford, but maybe our viewers don't know. This is the Michigan. For a long time hosted IndyCar races here in real life.
And
was the location that RaceSpot used to do the send-off for the IR18 back in December, which I want to say a certain NASCAR driver won, but I'd have to go back and look at the results. But yeah, it was a beautiful race that day, right at the end of December when RaceSpot held their US 500, and a great race there. So Michigan's a well-used track across the service. I have to look, though. We don't have the Michigan road courses, right?
Here goes Chad Kibbe on to pit lane, and I did notice that our dad is not in the field tonight.
Our dad?
Papa Evans. Doug.
Oh, okay.
Doug's not here. I miss Papa. The lead has shrunk. It has shrunk a second and a half. I don't know if Richard's wanting to, if he's saving, because Richard is not putting lap times down at the speed of light that he was. It's 40.5s. I think he's saving a lot.
It could be saving. It could also just be that, as we said before, this track eats tires, right? This track is just brutal on tires. So you don't get that many hot laps here before that fall off starts to happen. And so for a couple laps, Acosta and White might get a small run because of that. Here we're seeing Ted Lomadick and Reese Bogue. By the way, Reese Bogue, I know we said it earlier, P11. This guy started last. That's impressive. Congrats to Reese Bogue. Oh, hello, that's a wall though. Well, good news. Wall works.
Cameraman's okay too. We're all good here.
That cameraman needs a new pair of pants, though.
Yeah. Thomas Sink absolutely mowed the wall down, and that I'm sure that scared the Whataback teammates that he's racing around too. Like, oh, hey, what are you doing, man?
Sometimes in life, you just gotta test the structural integrity of things. You never know unless you try, right? You gotta see if that old Ross Chastain move works every now and then.
I'm not 100% sure how it would work here, but good little fight going on for these drivers, trying to stay inside the top 10. Bogue is starting to catch them just ever so slightly, who has worked his way up to the 11th place position. He has definitely pulled away, as we'll take a look at a replay in the big box there of the wall slap. And bam, wall. He just misjudged it.
And the weird thing about this track is a lot of times, because of the speed you're carrying out of the corner, you know you're going to hit the wall, by the way. Very rarely do you hit the wall here and not know it's coming. Like, you can hit a wall at like a Bristol or somewhere like that and be, oh, I hit a wall, whoops. But a lot of times with the speed you're carrying out of the corner, you know, and you're fighting that wheel as much as possible to keep out of that wall.
4-lap difference of tires for our race lead. And you take a look right here at that's old Tevin trying to fight for 8th here on Colton Lane. He had the run to the outside. We'll see if Joey can get it done. He will. Joey's gonna take the race lead there. And right when I mentioned Doug, he's camping. Nice little text from him.
And take your rig with you, Doug.
I wonder why he couldn't take a sim rig to the wilderness.
He's commitment. I mean, Terry Radford's going to go bathe a baby in front of people in a couple weeks, so I can't really fault you for camping.
Whoa.
You said you're going. You said, oh, hold on. There's a real conversation here first. Hold on. There's a wall hit. That's so.
Doyle Lawrence.
That might have broke that car, by the way. You can't break a tow link or other items in these cars and get some repairs needed for it. But you said, and I quote, "I'm going to a baby shower on a Sunday." I'm assuming one of you's holding the baby, one of you soaping it up, and one of you's dipping it under the water. That's what's happening, right?
No. Do you not know what a baby shower is?
I mean, of course I do. It's where you bathe a baby.
I can't stand you. I did get an interesting fact from Doug, who said that Jeff Evans is running the white paint scheme tonight. That's the scheme that he won all of his PRL races with. And crazy enough, when the Talladega win was gifted to him by Elliott White, he was running this paint scheme.
There you go. That's a cool thing to know.
Well, actually, no. So he's wrong. Bad note. That's where he got all of his authentic wins. He was running the Talladega night scheme with us, and he had the Ricky Bobby scheme on.
Okay. So, come back to this topic, then we'll move on. I have one more question for you. Who bays more, you or the baby?
Well, considering the baby's not born yet, I would say the baby. because it's always just sitting in fluid. Bradley Holly's trying to work his way into the top 5. He's going to try to get around Adam Zemke here for this position. Good, solid night so far for the 184, who got the monkey off his back finally. Got himself a win this season, and it didn't go winless for 2 Wednesdays in a row, as this fight back here with Matt Gagnon, Nick McLaughlin, and Chad Kibbe is not on the lead lap. He has currently scored 22nd, 1 lap down to the field. So the battle is Westerfield, Gagnon, McLaughlin. Your top there.
I love that Matt has 2 different paint schemes ready. By the way, there's a red and white and a white and red. He alternates between. But here, look at that gap here. It is kind of decreasing between Regan and Acosta. It's down to 1.2 seconds now. Elliott White has fallen way back though. This is only a one-on-one battle here. The question that Abner would need help with here is when Richard Regan catches lap traffic, do they fight him or not? That's the only thing that can help Abner, I think, at this point.
Well, if you think lap time wise, I'll wait for the pylon to update for me. It's currently, when they crossed the start finish line, it was a 41.190 to a 40.929. So Abner on 4 lap fresher tires than Richard Regan Jr. has been able to close 5 seconds down, and for the first time in 20 plus laps, the gap for the lead is a 1 second and now under a second to bring your top 2 back together of where we started from the very, very beginning.
Now, what could happen here for Elliott White, he won't make up all the time, but if Acosta can catch Regan here and they start battling side by side, they'll both slow down and Elliott White will come back into frame. Not enough to close a 2, almost 3 second gap, I don't think, but enough to get in there and get involved, I think.
We're going to see what the race is going to transpire with, and we believe that barring the yellow flag waving over the Michigan International Speedway, this is the battle for the race win. We don't expect anybody else to come up here and put on a fight with Elliott White being 2.65 seconds behind. Evans is almost 6 behind as well. 1 lap car up in the front of Richard Regan Jr. Race leader Abner Acosta's got it down to under 0.8 of a second. The time's ticking. We're down to 12:20 to go.
That time is always ticking, and it's right here. So I want to real quick talk about team points if we can. Promise we would talk about them at some point. We probably should do it. Point them up right here. Just give me 1 second. Sorry, I'm trying to stall for time. So coming in tonight, Precision Racing Esports had a lead of about 20 points over Regenboog Motorsports. Atomic Racing TNT's in 3rd, and then What a Back. That's back row, overdrive, and front row were your top 6 beyond that. So right now, Precision Racing Esports with Abner and Elliott up there in the top 3 are looking to grow that lead with Regenboog Motorsports, with Richard Regan and Reese Bogue. They're going to be in a tight battle all season long, Terry.
Well, and that's also with Danny Cervantes missing the race as well. It was a 3-2 fight, and you would have imagined that Danny would have been potentially contending for a good finishing position. And this might come off disrespectful to the rest of the drivers at Regenboog Motorsports, but you're kind of letting Richard Regan Jr. carry the team. Other than the win that Reese has at Atlanta, a super speedway, track, where has Reese really had a run along with Cervantes that would even match what Richard's done all season?
Atlanta, I think.
That's it.
Yeah.
So 1 win for anybody outside of the name of Richard Regan Jr. for that team. And here he goes again. He's holding this race lead, got a point for leading, currently holds the point for the fastest lap, could potentially win this race with 10 minutes and 20 seconds to go. And he's going to have to hold off a hard-charging Abner Acosta, and the times are virtually going to deadlock here.
I am stunned, for the record, that Abner is continuing to close on Richard Regan. I thought he would close on him for a couple laps. There's a graphic showing it off here, by the way. I thought he would close on him for a couple laps while the tires kind of leveled off to each other's levels. I had no idea Abner would continue to close on him. And he's just running a slightly different line, just trying different things, and seeing a beautiful gyro cam here, by the way. Watch, he's going to run behind him, getting a little higher. Runs just a little higher than Regan through the corners, and then tries to cut it in later. That's just a different way of doing that, but look at that gap there on the screen, down to less than 0.3 of a second here, and now that draft is really helping Abner Acosta here as we get down into 3 and 4.
Yeah, a lot of draft really starting to come into play, but we'll see how hard the 56 of Richard Regan Jr. blocks that 5 of Abner Acosta. It's Regan Bogue Motorsports versus Precision Racing Esports 1-2. It's been the top 2 virtually all season long, and we don't expect that to change, as these are the top drivers in the PRL, especially on this oval circuit. They were great in the trucks. They've been great in Xfinity. Can these two put on another instant classic race? And Michigan has not disappointed. It's down to a 10.5. Puts these drivers, we're going to come this time by. It'll be about 8 minutes on the dot when they cross the start-finish line. And if you're Abner Acosta, you have to get going. You have to get around him because you're a 10th faster than he is at the moment.
You know, there's this conversation I've had in the past with other commentators about how time is relative in racing, right? If you are Abner Acosta, that time feels like it is ticking so darn fast. If you're Richard Regan, these are the longest 8 minutes of your life. Just let the clock run down already is what he's got to be saying in his head. Like, please, let's just get there. But now we're going to have lap traffic to deal with. And this is where it's going to get interesting. Can Richard maybe use someone as a moving chicane or a moving pick? Does that traffic hold him up? That may be what decides who wins this race.
I would imagine if you're Richard Regan Jr., you just want to see this clock tick down to 4 minutes, and you want it to get a caution. Interesting that he went to the apron that time. That's going to let the 5 get there. Oh, he cut him off. Abner's going to get the run on the outside lane here. Is he going to turn down? He does. Richard crosses up the racetrack. Abner's going to stay tucked in for a second. Now he looks slow. Goes back to give the shot. He goes to the outside. Richard gets the run.
Some people may ask, why is Abner giving the shot there? They're not teammates. They're not really trying to bump draft each other. What Abner's trying to do is just a gentle nudge to maybe slightly increase Regan's entrance speed into a corner. And see if you can get him to get offline. Maybe have to lose, not wreck, but get a little loose, give a little wiggle, and then Abner can get around him. It's just a way to kind of affect someone's line in a very gentle way.
That time right there, he was trying to break the side draft. If you make Abner scrub some speed off the tires, as Abner almost pounded the wall there. Now, got the run off of 2. This is going to be fun. Oh, it almost turned into him.
Now, here's what's getting interesting in a second. Sorry to almost cut off a second ago. Is as they're running like this, eventually, as it runs right now, oh, no, never mind. Abner would get the draft on the outside from that lapped car. And it sounds so minimal, but that could allow Abner to get a small bit of a run here, depending upon who gets in that drafting lane.
Very good point, as Richard still holds this race lead. And this is getting to be very entertaining as we are catching lap traffic. That's Jacob Emery in the 20th. If they're catching here, Doyle Lawrence is not too far up the street. Neither is Nick Byer. That's 19th, 20th, and 21st in your running order. Mike Witt's right there as well. Those drivers all within the realm of the fight for the race win. And I'm sure if you're Richard, right about now, you're kind of saying, all right, we could have a caution anytime, guys. Like, if you want one, we'll do it.
Based upon that truck race, you want to wait like 2 minutes. You don't want to have that whole 1 to go thing happen to you again. Might want to wait it, but this is P4. This is Bradley Holly and Jeff Evans right here on your screen, and they're going to battle out of the corner. By the way, Terry Radford, you owe some Xfinity drivers an apology.
I do. I thought this would be a caution fest, but it has not been. This has been a very perfect race. The skill level of this series is phenomenal. And you see the battle right here. Brad trying to work his way up here. He's figured something out in this race, and he was running a little bit with Mark Kalin before this race ever began. There's a couple times we should have seen the caution. Potentially when we had Kalin go into the wall, a couple other issues that had transpired in this race that should have or could have been a yellow flag if the talent level was as lacking as some people's are. But that battle right here with teammates, this is the best, I would say tied for the best battle for the race so far, as they're 5 seconds off of our race leader.
They are. If we can go, there you go. There's the battle for the first. Well, they're backwards actually on the labels. That's kind of funny.
There we go.
There we go. I was like, those aren't the right cars. No, there's the battle for the lead, and there's your first lap car in the way. There's some on the
that
bottom.
might have been a caution.
Stay on the bottoms. And look at this. Abner now is getting that small draft from that lapped car, but Regan used him as a pick. And we're moving cameras quickly here. There we go.
That was Nick Byer right there, who's almost lost it, almost spun it off the exit of turn 2. There's the replay here as he comes off 2, catches the wall, loses it, saves it.
So there were two different reactions going on right there in that moment. You had Richard Regan basically probably hopping up and down, screaming for a caution. You had Abner Acosta, no, please not a caution. At the same time, I bet you.
Simultaneously wanting it at the same time, as you got the battle for the lead in the top screen. They're starting to catch another lap car. That is Jacob Emery in the battle for the 4th place position between the 184 Miracle Flow Ford and the 51 Miracle Flow Ford of Bradley Holly and Jeff Evans. Crossover move there. Teammates aren't racing like teammates here at the closing stage of this race, Derek.
No, at the end of the day, individual points still matter and individual results still matter at times. So now the interesting battle here twice. Now they got Richard Regan back up behind Emery again. Abner's going to try to cut it low.
Oh, what a block.
There's no way this works. Hold on. There's no way. Abner Acosta's going to hold it.
3 wide, but that's with a lap car to the outside. Emery bows out. We drag race with 2 minutes to go. Who's going to win it at Michigan?
That would have been Regan at the line by a little bit, but now Abner's got the inside line here. I cannot believe he held that inside line.
Here we go. Richard's going to pinch down to the bottom. He'll go right on the door. They touch just a hair off the exit. They're both sideways. The side draft is in effect. Abner's clear.
That's Mike Witt in front of him here. Mike Witt has a spotter tonight. I believe it's Lou Christian, who's in the Cup Series, so he'll help get Mike out of the way here in a second.
And Abner's gone. Gone. Lap traffic cost Richard Regan Jr. the lead as they went to lap Jacob Emery, and that's all she wrote.
I think a little bit of that bumping and that squeezing and that giving up your line to affect Abner's line also may have cost you a little bit here. But now if you're Richard Regan, get these other 2 lap cars behind you and let them carry that little bit of momentum and put you back in Abner's draft here. Don't give up. Minute 12, probably 2 laps left here.
Richard's going to have to fight really hard as he's fallen a half a second behind. His lap times have plummeted. He's 0.4 of a second slower than the race leader, Abner Acosta. Here we go. We're going to have 2 laps to go when they cross the start-finish line. 51 seconds. The 41-second lap around here at the current pace that we're on. So we will see 1 3/4 laps as he works his way off of turns 1 and 2, down the back straightaway. Man, what a race for the lead and what a race for the win.
Yep, that is a lap car behind him here. That is a lap car with fresher tires. So they're going to let him go with no battle.
No fight for Mark Kalin to Abner Acosta, who is 1 multiple laps down. Now make him 2. White flags in the air for Abner Acosta. What an incredible run. Started second on the day. Did not lead the most laps. That is going to go to Richard Regan Jr. Fastest lap, Richard. He will essentially stretch his points lead as they go down the back straightaway for the final time. It is all the 5 for Precision Racing Esports, and through turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Break it out, because momentum goes to the 5 camp into the road courses for the next 2 weeks. Abner Acosta gets it done in the Irish Hills of Michigan.
You see there eventually that battle for 4th and 5th worked itself out as well. They were single file across the line, and we'll see our last couple of cars come across here. Wow, what a great race. I'm excited to talk to these guys and see what their thoughts were on this. That's incredible. But in a second, we'll get our standings up here, and we'll run through them here at the end of our race.
What an incredible race that we saw this afternoon as Abner Acosta gets it done. Richard Regan Jr. for Regan Bogue Motorsports P2. Elliott White back there in 3rd. Bradley Holly, Jeff Evans, a pair of teammates with Adam Zemke, Joey Tebben, Ted Lowen, Dick, teammates as well, and more teammates. It was a teammate galore, all split right down the middle from Adam Zemke, your top 10.
Picking up P11 is Mike Knight with Jim Westerfield behind him. Then Nick McLaughlin, Matt Gagnon, Reese Bogue, Nicholas Hunter, Daniel Knight, all on the lead lap. That's back through 17th. Mike Witt, 18th. Jacob Emery is 19th. And Doyle Lawrence, is back in P20.
And your final 4, and Nick Byer, Chad Kibbe, who tried the strategic call. Mark Kalin slapped the wall early, and Patrick Calgill just could not get the grip of the racetrack. He's going to round out our 24 car field with Richard Regan Jr. with a 39.372 on lap 34, took the fastest lap home. We'll wait for our interviewees. Now, they just figured they didn't want to show up today, I guess.
Yeah, Abner's still out there doing donuts, I think, so he'll be a second. But man, oh man, what a race. What a great, clean race.
There we go.
There we go. All right, well, let's go pull him up here. Start by talking to a familiar name, your race winner, Abner Acosta. Abner, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I feel like I lost 10 pounds on those last 10 laps, but yeah, thanks.
So talk us through. Richard pits first. You pit after him. The gap at one point is up to 5 seconds. How'd you close that gap?
Well, I pitted late. I think I had like 4 or 5 lap pressure tires. I used to do this a long time ago when I first started racing ovals, and I used to get like bullied for it a little bit. So I was like, I'm just gonna go ahead and try it. And I did feel it was actually like 7 seconds when I came out of the pits, and I thought that was too much. But then I saw the closing gap. He probably was saving at the same time, so I don't know. You will have to ask him, but. At the end there, I feel like we were pretty much even out, and the more I fought him, the more the gap kept evening out on the tires. So, yeah, I just held my pace and just hoped I would catch him at the end, and I did.
You did, and of course, at the end there was that little bit of beating and banging. Any resentment, or did you guys have it sounded like you guys already talked it out and kind of said good job to each other, right?
Yeah, I mean, me and Richard have a long history of like racing each other hard, so I know passing him is not easy. He's a really good driver. He knows how to push your limits without wrecking you. I have to look at that replay at the end. I took it 3 wide. Obviously, he pushed me a little more, and if you're racing against Richard, you have to kind of give him elbows as well. So I try to give him a little bit elbows to him, and I know on the entry of 3, I felt like he pushed me down a lot, like kind of took my lane, but we didn't wreck. It was fine. I mean, when we made contact, I didn't get loose. I don't know if he did or anything, so I think it was clean. I'll have to look at the replay though.
All right. Well, Next 2 weeks is what some would call the Fear the Abner Acosta weeks. We go into the road courses. So I'm just going to put you in a spot between Indy and the Glen. Which are you most looking forward to?
Definitely Indy. Obviously the Glen is it's a really old track and all that, but I feel like it's not enough corners. I guess I like Indy. You have like different types of corners everywhere. You can have the back straightaway and all that. So I definitely looking forward more to Indy.
All right. Well, before we let you go, anyone you want to say hello to or want to thank on the way out?
Yeah. Thank you to Elliot for I was thinking about pitting, and he was the one that kind of said just stay out for longer, and I did, and it worked out. Thank you to PRL, Jerome, also at everybody at Private Team Hype, and you guys at RaceSpot for broadcasting.
All right, well, thank you. Good job tonight, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night. All right, that's Abner Acosta, and now I believe Terry Radford has caught up with Richard Regan Jr.
Well, Richard, not second, I'm sure, is not what you wanted to see, but you had a really good run right there. Walk me through that battle with Abner Acosta, and how fun was that?
Yeah, it was definitely fun until the lap cars have no awareness and kind of ruined it for me. But it's kind of the name of the game. The car was really drafty this week, so I was hoping that the tires would kind of equal out a little bit better before he caught my draft, and I could have probably hung on till the last lap before he really had a shot to get to my bumper. But once he got in my draft, it was like a lap after he finally caught my draft where we started evening out a little bit, and the draft was just pulling him along. But I'm not the biggest fan of the contact. I mean, I know I was running him tight, but 2 times that we made contact tonight was him hitting me. But that is what it is. We've had a history before not holding it against him, but we'll see what happens definitely next season for the yearly championship, because I'll take the gloves off for that one.
Well, my man, you got 2 road courses coming up with Indianapolis and Watkins Glen. Abner's the guy to beat. He's got the momentum coming out of Michigan. You going to race him any different?
There's not going to be any racing him these next 2 weeks. He's going to be like 40 seconds ahead of whoever's in second. So he's really good on road courses. So that's pretty much it for the championship. Well, my championship this season.
Well, best of luck. We'll see you next week in Indianapolis, and congratulations on P2 here tonight.
Yep, thanks. Got to give a shout out to Mission 22, Neonism Paints. You need a paint, go to facebook.com/neonism. Tell them the PRL sent you. Multiple Sclerosis Society, Mr. Hedge Photography, Reese and Nick for actually showing up tonight, because teammates, I guess, don't show up anymore. And everyone at PRL and you guys at RaceSpot.
Thank you, sir. You have a good one.
Yep, you too.
All right, that's Richard Regan Jr. He finished second. And then let's go ahead and pull in Abner's teammate, Elliot White. Elliot, congrats on P3.
Thank you. Thank you.
So walk us through the race. So first off, Abner says you're the one who convinced him to stay out and wait longer to pit, but you pitted before Abner. So what was that about?
Yeah, I was basically just looking at, I think it was Colton who pitted behind us. I was fine waiting laps after Richard, as long as no one behind us pit, because I didn't want to have to pass people again. So saw Colton pit, and then I wanted to make sure I at least came out ahead. So I told Abner I was pitting then.
So a P3 tonight helps your team with those team points, and Precision Racing Esports will continue to hold that lead. Now we look ahead for the next 2 weeks, and of course the places that Abner is really good at, Indianapolis and Watkins Glen. Which of those 2 are you most looking forward to?
I guess Watkins maybe. I don't really remember how I've done it at Indy before, so I'm not sure what to expect there. Watkins, I mean, I just enjoy driving Watkins, so I think it should be pretty fun.
All right, well, before we let you go tonight, anyone who wants to say hello to or give thanks to on the way out?
Yeah, all our sponsors at PRL, Butt Kicker, Racebox, Mecca, Muradness, Mr. Hodge. Appreciate all of them, and of course you guys at RaceSpot as well.
All right, well, Elliot, congrats on P3 tonight, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you guys, but goodbye.
Terry, back to you.
Well, that's going to do it for us here this afternoon. It's almost sea open time on the East Coast, and 2 great races here at the Michigan International Speedway, and next week's going to be even funner as we head to the Indianapolis Road Course for what's going to be, I hope, very, very exciting for Derek Watson, Dustin Olis, and myself, Terry Radford. Thank you so much for watching our coverage. You can catch PRL all week long right here on RaceSpotTV. Good night, everybody.